Hello everyone, this is day 1 of our 20-day journey on Paul and Stephen. Yeah, you're right. We are here and we have actually got the opportunity, thanks to the kind information by the experimenters of the Spiritist Society of Virginia and Kardec Radio, asking us to give everyone who has been writing to us through the Spiritist magazine, Kardec Radio, and also the Spiritist Society of Virginia, the questions regarding what to do next regarding this, the elections in the United States, what's going to happen next. Many people are afraid, they're sad, they're frustrated, there's so many things going on. What do we do? So here we have 20 days in which we're going to be discussing this book, the Paul and Stephen book, by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. And you may be asking why. Why are we going to do this? We're going to do this because this book tells the true story of people who, just like us, were undergoing extreme times in the politics of the ancient Rome, and the religious extremism and many other problems. What did they do? It was a much worse time than ours nowadays. So here we have enough information to give us guidance on what to do and how to be truly coherent regarding our journey in this new step of the earth. Don't forget, Chico Xavier, the Brazilian Spiritist medium who was considered one of the greatest humanitarians of Brazil, and I think one of the greatest of the world as well, he, many years before he discarnated, he received an information from the spirit mentor, Emmanuel, the same author of this book, saying that the earth is on probation until the year 2019. And it's so fitting because the times we're living in are precisely predicted by them, saying that we need to be coherent, need to be spiritual, need to open our hearts. So let us open the book and see its true treasure. Hi, Fátima Ferreira. Thank you for joining us too, and everyone who's joining us. So let us begin from the beginning. Preface. Let me read a few excerpts to you, okay? There is, says Emmanuel, and he wrote this very interestingly. He wrote it July 8th, 1941. You know what was happening at the time? The Second World War. It's a book that was brought to us during the Second World War for a specific purpose, to help us in our own journey of illumination, our own journey, my friends. So he begins. There is no small number of works around the world concerning the glorious endeavors of the Apostle of the Gentiles. It is right, therefore, to expect the question, why another book about Paul of Tarsus? Is it an homage to the great worker of the gospel, or does it contain more detailed information on his life? As for the first question, we'll be the first to acknowledge the fact that the Damascus convert does not need our petty homage. As for the second, we'll answer in the affirmative so as to reach our proposed goal, which is using the resources within our reach. We aim to transfer onto paper something that the traditions of the spirit world regarding the work entrusted to the great friend of the Gentiles. So in this book, we confirm what we know in the Bible, but it expands. It gives us detailed information we've never heard before. Our main purpose will not be simply to recall the sublime events of the apostolic times, but rather to specifically present the figure of the faithful worker in his true character as a man transformed by Jesus Christ. I know when we hear these words, we're like, oh, We're talking about the same old story of, following Jesus. No, no, no. This is different. I tell you, this Jesus here is completely different. Is the true one, the one in which we are feeling invited to embrace the world. Doesn't separate us from the world. The true Jesus brings us together, brings us to inner peace, and fear disappear. Are you afraid because of the elections, the results? Don't be. You know why? Jesus lived at a time in which everything was much worse, and he taught us joy, courage, and hope. Let's see. And he says, we also would like to emphasize the fact that it's not our intention to produce only a biography in the form of a novel. The world is replete with such instructional records regarding its most notable figures. Our highest and most sincere desire is to call to mind what? Let's listen. The harsh struggles and the bitter testimonies of an extraordinary soul who rose above human struggles in an incessant effort to follow the steps of the Master. Period. Friends, he's telling us we're not only the only ones who are going through harsh struggles. Hi, Fabiana. We are not the only ones who go bitter testimonies, and he's giving us the pathway. Hi, Julio. Today's lukewarm churches and believers' misguided interests, desires in the various sectors of Christianity justify our intentions. Like we said at Kardec Radio yesterday, how many of us say we're spiritists, we're Christians, we're spiritualists, we're spiritual, we are religious, but we're not opening our hearts to service. We're still attached to hierarchy. And if not hierarchy in the Spiritist center, the Spiritist movement, like great mediums, and we forget that Jesus always told us we need to focus on those who suffer so we don't lose sight of what to do next in our lives. Friends, who is suffering in this world today? Maybe we are. Big deal. We're on the earth. We're not expected to be living heaven on earth. We need to build heaven on earth inside of us. And these are not mere words. It's possible because those who came before us already showed us the pathway. In this book is the example of it. But the best part of this preface is yet to come. Let's hear it. Hear it and rejoice, because I love this book. It says everywhere there is a tendency towards spiritual idleness and displays of least effort. Many disciples compete for, hi Luciana, see you soon. Hi Felipe, by the way, those who are listening to us live, if you're in Washington DC area, we have an event coming up. Julio Carvalho from New Jersey is going to be with us, and hopefully we're going to stream here at our channel and on Facebook, and you can listen to the talk. Maybe if you're here, don't expect, go there in person, because I'm not sure if it's gonna happen, okay? But many disciples compete for the privileges of this condition, while others intentionally avoid honorable work by praying for supernatural watch care from heaven. Churches and devotees give themselves joyfully to accommodating situations, preferring materialistic rules and pleasures. Emmanuel, can you believe he's telling that to us? I wonder how Chico Xavier reacted when he realized Emmanuel wrote these words. Because, the other day I was talking to a friend, and I said, we're going through this. Hi, Nina. I want to share with you this. I was talking to a friend, and this friend said, oh, this is happening, and that's happening. And I said, it's calling us for greater discipline. And this person said to me, it was kind of silly, but it's funny the way it was stated. I'm making my efforts. Don't the spirits know I'm making my efforts? Hi, Dulcie. See you soon in a week. And it's interesting because soon after I shared with this friend, I said, you know, the mentors of Chico Xavier constantly were telling us, watch and pray, and be vigilant, make more effort, serve more. And I wonder if Chico Xavier ever told them, like, I'm doing my best. Don't you see I'm making my efforts? And Emmanuel is here telling us the same in the preface. And I bet Chico Xavier was saying, okay, Emmanuel, I'm going to comply more. I'm going to be more vigilant. I'm going to be more prayerful. By the way, on the 19th of the November, this month of November, if you go to Long Island, we're going to be there at Stony Brook University for the Prevention of Suicide event that the Long Island Spiritist Doctrinal Studies are organizing. Just go to their website, lispiritistdoctrine.org. Hi, Abby. Hi, Vanessa from Seattle. So, he says, in observing this regrettable panorama, so he's saying, as we said, that old man is inside of us. We need to go there and get this cancer out of our lives because it becomes very pernicious. It would be worthwhile to recall the unforgettable figure of the generous apostle. Hi, Angelita. Many have written about Paul's life, but when they have not attributed to him certain titles of favor granted by heaven without cost, they have presented him as a dry-hearted fanatic. Hi, Bia. To some, he was a predestined saint, to whom Jesus appeared in a mechanical maneuver of grace. To others, he was an arbitrary man. He's talking about Paul of Tarsus, if you got in right now. Domineering and strict, prone to strife with his fellow men with almost ruthless vanity. Hi, Sonia. The prevention suicide event's gonna happen there, and I'm not so sure if they're gonna stream it, but let's wait up and check it out, okay? I'll let you know. We'll not confine ourselves within these two extremes. We certainly want to remember that Paul received the holy gift of the glorious vision of the Master at the gates of Damascus. Don't go away, my friend. Don't go away, because right now, Emmanuel brings to this preface a message very personal to you and to me. To you and to me and to the whole world. The fact is that the unforgettable weaver and tent maker, Paul of Tarsus, did indeed have his own divine ministry, but who in this world does not have a ministry from God? Emmanuel, thank you very much. My friend, let me repeat the question. Who in this world does not have a ministry from God? And 3 times is always a charm. Who in this world does not have a ministry from God? He's telling you and me, we all have a ministry of God in the world. What is it? Don't expect for Superman, Superwoman, for super somebody to come and rescue us. No, 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 no. The rescuer is within, because we are children of God. We have a ministry from God. What is it? What is it? Listen to your call. What is it? Let's listen. Let us do this inner reflection, the meditation, and ask. Emmanuel is asking us, who in this world does not have a ministry from God? Hi, Anna Louisa. So, right now we're all puzzled, confused, frustrated, and sad and fearful. Don't. Let's reset. And Emmanuel is empowering us by giving us the tool. You have a ministry from God. Let's receive it. Receive it. And he says, many will say that they do not know what their particular calling is, that they are ignorant in this respect. However, we will answer that besides ignorance, there is neglect and much pernicious caprice. He's saying that if we don't know the calling in this life, it's because either we're just neglecting it, or we're being whimsical like a child. Wow. Emmanuel is an educator. Those who are more exacting will remark that Paul received a direct call from God, another question from Emmanuel. But in reality, all ordinary men and women have been personally called to serve Christ. I'm not dramatizing here. This preface is so empowering because he's telling us, repeating, all ordinary men and women, ourselves, have been personally called to serve Christ. Friends, you and I, everyone, have been called to serve Christ. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means we're going to open a spiritist center, a church, a temple. No, not necessarily. How can we serve Christ at home? Let's brainstorm together. We are connected, says Kardec, mind to mind right now. I may seem to be speaking more than you are, but not necessarily. We're communicating. I can feel your thoughts. I can feel it. How can we serve Christ at home? Let's brainstorm. By enjoying the people in your life, just like we do on Facebook. Like, why don't we do the like buttons in our home? Why not? And you know, we open our windows, for those who open windows, because in the United States it's so funny, we forget to open the windows because of the heating or the air conditioning system. But open the windows of our hearts and say, smile. Why not? Don't be afraid. And even like Charles Chaplin's major song, Smile when your heart is breaking. Right? That's okay. We can smile even when everything is not in place. Many people can look at us in the Facebook and say, oh, that life of Vanessa or somebody else is always green grass. If you know the behind the scenes, you know it's not true. But who cares? Doesn't matter. It's life on the earth. We don't expect to be everything in place so we can smile. Smile because we are children of God. Thank God. We exist, we know God exists, and we know that Jesus is taking care of us and all of his friends, all of his teams. When you look at the universe and you know that there are billions of spirits superior than us, taking care of all of us, and all that they want to do is take care of us. In the book, Missionaries of the Light by André Luiz, Chico Xavier psychographed the book, and there is a chapter, chapter 4, in which Emmanuel tells the instruction of Mentor Alexander, saying to André Luiz that they are patient and their task is to lead us in this educational pathway. My friend, I feel so moved by it to know that there are loving souls dedicating their lives 24/7 to guide us, to help us, that their joy is to see our progress. We're not alone. They know what's going to happen next, and they knew the outcome was going to be what we saw in this election. They knew it. We didn't. They knew it. And one of the proofs that I have is this past Wednesday at the Spiritist side of Virginia. We usually do our schedule almost like a month ahead. And when we prepared it, we selected a talk on the healing Christ right after the election day. When everybody came, we saw the mentors and they said, you see, we already knew. Because we know the population, we know what people are feeling, we know it. But Vanessa, it's good that we're seeing the diagnosis of the nation and of the world. Nobody can hide that now we need treatment, that now we need loving care, we need the therapy of kindness. So be prepared. Let's open the heart, and the wheels of the heart need to be worked upon, and allow it. Don't try to explain things we don't need to explain. All we need to do is love. All we need is love, and love is all we need. These are not mere words. It's the essence of life. In a book that is not in English, it's in Portuguese, Universo e Vida, Universe and Life, by the Spirit Oriole, published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, they say, based on the studies of André Luiz, the conclusion is the nourishment of our souls is love. When you see people struggling, you bet. Love. Either they are constricting the flow of God's love, or they are lacking the exchange, because it's a twofold. It's like direct, but it needs to flow through us to others, from others to us. We need this two-way road. God through us, and from us to others, from others to us. That's how it works. So if either of those roads are having problems, we're going to suffer. So open our hearts. May we be the ones who allow the flow of God's love to go through. Don't be shy. Remember Carol Correa's reminder yesterday at Kardec Radio. Let those who know the message of goodness not be shy. Don't be timid. Don't be shy in your life saying, am I going to be the one I'm going to show off? No. When you love, you don't show off. Do you think Mother Teresa was a show-off? Do you think Jesus was a show-off? Do you think Chico Xavier was a show-off? Do you think Divaldo Franco is a show-off? No. Hi, Renata. So, no, don't be afraid. Use your social media to bring about kindness. Kindness everywhere. Serving Christ. He says here with us, in reality, all ordinary. Hi, Alessandra. Thank you for listening and being with us from the south of Brazil. He's saying, all ordinary men and women have been personally called to serve Christ. And we were just brainstorming together. How can we serve Christ at home? How can we serve Christ at work? You know, Mentor Joseph said to us recently, there is a difference between working and serving. You work at your own time, in your own pace. You serve at somebody else's time and pace. When we serve Christ, it's about Christ's time and pace, not ours. When we serve, we don't dictate when, how, or where. When we serve, we serve. Saying, please come help me. Okay, I will, and I serve. When I work, I plan my schedule. I dictate how I'm going to do it. I say when I'm going to do it, where I'm going to do it. But when I serve others and when I serve Christ, I hear Vanessa, Renata, Alessandra, Ana Luisa, Felipe, Luciana, everybody who is here with us and many more. Can you come and help this person? We don't say, but tomorrow. But yes, no. Yesterday I couldn't, tomorrow I can't, maybe in a year. No. When I serve, it's now. Why? Just because we serve. When we serve, we serve. So he's saying, we are personally called to serve Christ. The question is, how can I serve more? How can I serve more? Meaning, at people's own needs and time and pace and place. The form may vary, but the essence of this summons is always the same. The call to the ministry sometimes arrives subtly, unexpectedly. Most people, however, are resistant to the Lord's generous invitation. Are you resistant? Am I resistant? How can I dissolve my resistance? At this time on the earth, especially after this election, we're being called to serve the Christ. Am I resistant? Don't be resistant. Let's not. Let's wash it away and let's open our hearts. He says very well, Jesus is not a master of forceful means. And if the figure of Paul appears to be greater in our eyes, it is because he hearkened to the call, repented, denied himself, took up his cross, and followed Christ to the end of his work on the earth. How did he deny himself? He denied the ego. Sometimes we're resistant to love the family members and the relatives in our lives because we want them to be the way we want them to be, or we're not going to love them the way they need us to love them. We're not denying ourselves the ego inside of us. We need to deny, say, enough ego, Vanessa. Hi, Valkyria, listening from far. Hi, Joyce Magalhães. It's good to have you here, too. So, we need to think, am I resistant? How can I serve Christ without resistance? Forget the ego. Open our hearts and say, I serve. Let's serve. Serve. And amid persecution, infirmities, derision, mockery, disillusionment, desertion, stonings, beatings, and imprisonment, Paul of Tarsus was a courageous and sincere man walking in the darkness of the world to meet the Master who made himself hard at the crossroads of his life. Paul was much more than a predestined individual. He was an accomplisher who strived daily to reach the light. I feel very moved right now because I know many people who come to us and say, I can't do it, Vanessa, because I'm not predestined to do these things. It's not for me. Maybe it's for you, for other people. And I say, Emmanuel is writing to us and saying, it's not about predestination. It's about daily effort. Daily effort. As Renata is saying here, glad to be here. How can I serve more? So inspiring. Reading the gospel this morning, the lesson had to do with yesterday's lessons. Chapter 10, do not judge others. He without a sin, let him be. And she says, cast the first stone. Hi, Guru. Thank you, Renata, for this reminder of the gospel. Let us do our part and serve. And we're just talking about these buttons on Facebook. Like, love, etc. Let's use them in our daily lives. That's how we can serve Christ. Smile more to people. Some people say, Vanessa, but in the United States, if you smile too much, people, they think you have a hidden agenda. Well, let them think we have the hidden agenda of love. Why not? I don't care. If they think we're crazy, one day they're gonna know we're sincere. It's just a matter of time. I remember my PhD thesis, my mentor, he said to me once, Vanessa, everything in life is a matter of work and silence. And he's so right. Just, smile in silence. Nobody needs to know anything. And our hidden agenda is the hidden agenda of love. Even if people don't believe it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They are gonna feel it. And that's what's important. Because we're perfect? No. But because we found out that the source of life and youth is love. No doubt. Not this superficial type of romantic love. No. We're talking about from child of God to child of God. Love. We don't need to create it. Some people are like, but it's so hard. You have to make effort. No. Let it flow. The Frozen song? I know so much because of Virginia, man. It's like Frozen Fever. But instead of saying let it go, just say let it flow, let it flow. And that's how we go by, just allowing it. But wrapping up the last third of this preface, that is day one of our journey. We're going to make it, friends. We're going to make it sustaining this sense of wellness, and that everything is as it's supposed to be because we're healing ourselves from within. He says, Emmanuel, the Master calls Paul from his realm of immortal radiance. Paul fumbles in the darkness of human experience and replies, Lord, what would you have me do? That's the question for us every day. We have a Lord. Do you have a Lord? That's the problem we have. We're not used to that any longer. We're generations who were told that you need to do what you like, not necessarily fulfill God's will. And that's our problem. When you have a Lord, what does it mean to have a Lord? A Lord means what? That somebody knows more than us. Somebody actually is dictating the direction. So what do we need to do? Lord, ask, what do you want me to do? Hi, Leo. So we really need to ask, Lord of my life. Every day I need to practice it. Even when I go to do grocery shopping, Mentor Joseph said, also train Virginia to do the same. So she's little, she's 3 now, and I say, Virginia, Mom, I want this. I say, well, we need to ask God if God wants us to buy it. Seriously. Because we can only buy if God allows. Gives us resources. And then, of course, funny enough, she asks, and then I say, what did God say? Oh, yes, we can buy it. That's very smart. Good morning, Leo. So, but it's the exercise every day. Let's exercise this with kindness because Jesus is the Lord. Love, there will never be, I would say, quote unquote, a boss like him. And he's not a boss per se, but, loving and kind and compassionate and firm and determined. Isn't it good to work with somebody like that? Oh, it feels good because he has sense of humor too. Even Pope Francis, he said that humor is a straight connection to God, and I bet Jesus had a wonderful sense of humor. Something to learn about. I'm learning too. I'm far from it, but it's something to learn. Lord, what do you want me to do today? Oh, forgive this person, reconcile with that one, allow that person to shine brighter than me today. So be it. I'll be the one saying good job. And that's okay. We're not going to be less if somebody shines brighter than us because deep inside we shine the same. Look at Divaldo Franco and his cousin who founded the Mission of the Way. Uncle Nielsen, Divaldo Franco. Divaldo Franco was shining, but you think Uncle Nielsen wasn't and still isn't, though he's discarnated? If you had an opportunity to stop by the Mission of the Way before he discarnated, he was the shining star at the Mission of the Way. People would where's Uncle Nielsen? Divaldo would be here, it's like, where's Uncle Nielsen? They wanted to hug him, it's that. So, one person was shining one way and the other shining another way. Both, the sun shines for everyone. You don't need to diminish your light so that others can shine their light. No. You shine, let them shine. That's how it works. That's how it works. And here he says, between Jesus and Paul, there was an abyss, like between us and Jesus, which the apostle crossed over in decades of ongoing redemptive struggle. So Emmanuel is telling us, this journey is going to be beautiful, but it's going to be intense. It's going to be challenging. So let's not cry. Like good students, the teacher says, tomorrow there's a test. Yes, believe it or not, I used to love tests. Yeah, a little bit of a nerd, but that's okay. Love tests and exams. The good students, they love tests and challenges and exams because these are opportunities for them to grow stronger. So we don't complain. We may cry saying, oh, my muscle is sore. I am hurting here and there. But you know, oh, Thomas is asking me to let you know he's also watching. Hi, Thomas. Adorable. We miss you here. And Isabella and Virginia. Now Virginia could play with you. I hope next time you guys are here, you can come visit us, okay? So, our objective, says Emmanuel, is to demonstrate this struggle as an example of how much effort we must put in our own endeavor to meet Jesus. So now he's telling us, and now we know why we're going to do this 20 days of March with Paul and Stephen. Because the struggles are natural, but our attitude before the struggle is the difference, and this book tells us how. Don't cry because we are going to have to work harder now after the elections. Let us rejoice and say, now I'm more useful than before because I have to work harder to help one another myself. Put a lot of effort. Wonderful. We're going to be stronger. The muscles are going to be more powerful. Another purpose of this humble effort is to acknowledge the fact that the apostle could not achieve his potential in this work by himself. That's the other key element for us after these elections. We're not alone. As Paul was not alone, we're not alone either. We have people who are ahead of us and waiting for us. Without Stephen, we would have no Paul of Tarsus. Without the superior spirits and the good people before us, we cannot be the best of us. We are never alone. We can never achieve great things by ourselves. The great martyr of nascent Christianity exerted much more influence on the Pauline experience than we could imagine, solely through the known texts of earthly studies. The lives of both men were entwined in mysterious beauty. The contribution of Stephen, the necessity, and other characters of this true story confirm the necessity and universality of the law of working together. Are you feeling better now? Safer? Because we're not alone. The law of working together, of teamwork effort. We are together as incarnates, but we also have a lot of superior spirits discarnated and who are leading us, protecting us, guiding us. We are not alone. We are not alone. We are together. And to demonstrate the breadth of this concept, we should remember that Jesus, whose compassion and power touched everything, sought the company of 12 helpers in order to undertake the world's renewal. Even the master of all masters needed helpers. Who are we not to? We need one another. We need each other. Moreover, without working together, love could not exist. And love is the power of God that gives balance to the universe. Do you feel it? Hi, Shane. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for your love, too. Emmanuel is fantastic. Without working together is the key. But you know, remember, when we work together, each person has a role. It's okay. As long as we are together. Like a team, you have a coach. The coach has a role that the players don't have and vice versa. If they start struggling with the coach and saying, Coach, you're not here running the field with us, they say, I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to be here and guiding you. You're supposed to do that. They can, and the coach cannot complain that the players don't have the same vision as he does because they are in a different vantage point. So that's life. Like parents and children, each one has a role. When parents try to delegate their role to their children, a family fails. And when children start, stepping onto the parents' roles, we fail. So each person has a role. In a couple, each part has a role. So we need to learn. And he says here, love could not exist without working together. Two parts of a complete work, love and work, service. I can already see the critics consulting tests and matching Bible verses in order to point out the errors of our humble endeavor. To the well-meaning, we are sincerely grateful for their acknowledging our condition as a fallible being. And we would state that this unpretentious book was written by a spirit for those who live in spirit. Hi, Ian Sinclair, one of the main interpreters of Divaldo Franco in the UK. Bless you, my friend. Bless you. It's good to be together. So, this book was written by a spirit for those who live in spirit. Question to you and to me. Are we living in spirit? What does that mean, to live in spirit? It means that we're incarnated, but we're focused on the true meaning of life as immortal spirits. If you and I are on this page, we're going to get his message, and we are going to succeed, and we're going to be stronger. And he wraps up by saying, therefore, in offering this humble work to our earthbound brothers and sisters, you and I, we hope that the example of the great convert may enlighten our minds so that all disciples may understand how much they need to work and suffer for the love of Jesus Christ. This message was written in the middle of a Second World War. It's a message for us. Hi, Lisette. It's a message for us, my friend. Emmanuel is calling us, saying, who in this world does not have a ministry of God? You and I, and everybody does. What is it? He says if we don't know, it's either because we are neglecting it or we're just being childish. Enough of it. The world needs maturity. Let it begin with us. But let it begin it like working together and denying our ego, allowing everybody to be the children of God as they want to be and need to be, as much as us. And let's not be shy. Don't be shy. Not because we're the good people, but we know the good message. Let's bring it forth in our daily acts. And as Emmanuel said, we're being called personally to serve Christ. Let's remember, when we serve Christ, we serve in Christ's time. There is a difference between work and service. We work at our own time, in our own pace. When we serve in Christ's time, Christ's pace, at His place, whenever He dictates, because He's our Lord. Are you ready? It's today, Sunday, November the 13th. We have the next 19 days to march this journey. And as we said at Cardiac Radio yesterday, as soon as we finish this wonderful book, the study of it and the reflections, to get us ourselves strong in these times of great challenge, soon after we're going to study the book Good News, which is already translated and awaiting the publishing by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. For now, we're going to wrap up with a prayer of joy and hope, because this is a book that was given to us in the middle of the Second World War. A very critical time to give us hope, to give us joy. And we are doing this for prevention measures, so we can team up and join forces to reach out to the world and say, guys, no more tears, joy, the joy of service, wherever we are. Let us pray, okay? Let me feel you and feel the love. Thank you so much. God, the supreme love of this universe. Because we know only those who are truly intelligent are capable of loving. And your intelligence encompasses the emotional intelligence, love. Thank you for sending Jesus and the pure spirits in His team to guide us, to bring us the true meaning of life. As apprentices, we want to become good students of yours and be compliant, be faithful, and inspire ourselves in the works of those who came ahead of us at critical times, worse and more cruel than the times we're living nowadays. May we feel the joy of learning and serving every day. And may everyone who is in our lives feel the blessings of this harmony and the joy of being on the earth at this most peculiar time of the construction of your kingdom inside of us. And so be it. Many blessings. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here.